What's up guys, Operation Pour here. So in this video I'm going to show you how to get a full loadout. This is not just the weapon system itself, but a full night vision loadout ready to go to war for under $1,500. That's including level 3A plates, a carrier, a helmet, the digital night vision device. Yes, digital, we can't afford analog. Analog night vision's like 2-3K, alright, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So everything you see here, rig, carrier, weapon system, mags, the only thing I didn't factor in is the ammunition and then the sidearm. But we'll get to the sidearm and why I would recommend something of the sort as we go on. If you're new to this channel, I need to say I yap a lot because I really do care about the stuff that I put out, and I go into exquisite detail. I try to hit everything that I can think of in the moment. So this video very well could be an hour long of me just showing the build. The main thing is the weapon system, but also talking about the use cases and everything. Because with a budget like this, while this stuff is technically viable, everything here, because of the budget restriction, does have some drawback in some way. However, it all meshes together very nice. So if you'll bear with me, we'll get into the gear, and then we will go down the rabbit hole on everything here as to why I look at upgrades and stuff like that, what I personally need, and yeah. All right, guys, so here we are. We're gonna start with the weapon system, number one. And yeah, I know, I got a Punisher patch. I got it forever ago. This is not my main go-to carrier. This is slick. This is actually my wife's carrier. So I had to make some corrections, you know what I'm saying? Don't want that unicorn patch on there. But we're gonna go over the weapon system first, why it is the way it is and what its purpose is. So the purpose of this 300 blackout PDW and this whole equipment list is night vision operations. Now, as a guerrilla fighter, you probably don't want to be moving around at night, even if you had analog or thermal capability. I just got to be honest, especially us poor boys over here. You do what you want. You're a big boy or girl. I'm not legally responsible for what you do, so don't do anything and tell me or tell the judge, Operation Pour told me to do it, because I didn't. I'm not advocating for any illegal activity. But moving past that, capability and price to a certain extent on certain things like night vision, it's true, right? If you can afford 10K analog tubes, they're going to be about 10 to 20% better than this night vision I'm going to show you. And it's digital. So we're going to get into that. This is going to be a long discussion. So just sit back, have a beer, have a coffee, and let's get into it. So the purpose of all of this, like I said, is night operations. As a guerrilla, you probably do not want to be doing night operations. You probably want to do maybe static defense, but as far as assaulting force or creeping up on a squad and mag dumping them in the night, while that sounds good in your head, that's probably not the way that you want to conduct yourself or do things, even in all-out war or without rule of law. Especially when, as a poor boy, you can afford stuff like this. That means if they're not a poor boy, they can afford better things. As a guerrilla force, you are your own logistical supply, and everything is dependent on you. And having a low income is already messing with that, you know. But my crowd, you know, EBT Medicaid crowd over here, all right? Struggle bus crowd over here. We got to do what we got to do, okay? Say what you will, you know, say they're lazy, whatever. But I'm just saying, a lot of people on EBT work overtime hours and they just don't get paid enough. All right, so the weapon system is based off the 300 blackout. I chose the 300 blackout caliber because it has full powder burn at 7.5-inch barrel. 5.56 looks like a dragon, even with a flash hider on the weapon with a 7.5-inch barrel. And also, you're kind of losing some of the advantages of a 5.56. You know, it was actually designed for a 20-inch barrel, as many of you guys know, and the 300 Blackout was actually made for shorter barrels and suppressors. So suppressors and shorter barrels, wow, okay, night vision. That's kind of the conclusion. Also, you're shooting a 30 caliber projectile, essentially taped onto or tapered into a 5.56 casing. Now, what this does is it kind of kills anything long range, but at night you're not going to be shooting over, I'd say, 150 or 200 meters. That's kind of like the max out viable option. Even if you did have a maul or a D-ball or a PEC 15, like a legit one, those still have issues out to, 200 meters plus. So, yeah, that's why we chose 300 Blackout. You're essentially getting more ballistical advantage in the distances that you will be working with. So this is kind of what it looks like. 7.5-inch barrel. We got a cheap Amazon riser, cranked down to max torque with, I think I put blue Loctite on it, not red. And then we have a Romeo 7S. So this is a $100 optic with Howie's hockey tape on it. The Romeo 7S is amazing for night vision. I'll try to pop a clip up, kind of POV through it or a picture or something. The 7S is phenomenal for night vision. And it's proven, it's, I wouldn't say battle tested. I don't know if they use it more in any country, but it's proven. The SIG Romeo 7, the SIG Romeo 5, like the Romeo series, except for the pistol optics, they are all like really good for the price. This is a $100 optic. This is like I think it was a $15 or $20 riser right here. And if I remember right, I actually ordered this riser because it's steel construction. It's not aluminum, if I remember correct. I'll try to pop it up on the screen. If not, it's on Amazon. Just look up Red Dot risers. It's right there. Try to stay away from a lot of the cheaper brands on the mounts. Cheaper mounts tend to, it's the threads in the cheaper mounts that'll work themselves off, even with Loctite. And if I buy something that's cheap and is a mount, I will Loctite the crap out of it and I will torque it down right before it strips. Sometimes I strip them, but I will torque it down as far as it would possibly go if you decide to do that. If not, the one thing I would not cheap out on is, especially on this weapon system, is a good riser. I have the riser there. I have the riser there for passive night vision aiming. Okay. Yes, it's a lot of height over bore. However, when you have the helmet on and then your night vision aligned with it, it lines up just right. Just right. I believe this was a 8.5 inch. This isn't even a whole inch riser right here. It's a 8.5 inch. So, Romeo 7S, 8.5, might be 8.3 inch riser. Real quick, I just went head off on this. This brace is from my 10.5 AR. I want to get a SBA 5 brace for it. This is a SBA 3. That is still kind of this whole lower, or this whole back half is from the parts bin. The buffer, not the springs, but the castle nut and all this is kind of from other builds, as well as the BCG. So I still need to order those. So what we got right here, this is the Strike Industries Venom. Keep in mind this is 30 caliber, so this used to be on my 308. However, I moved it down to the 300 Blackout. This flash hider, it does kind of sound like a tuning fork. It does kind of sound like a tuning fork sometimes, and as you can see, I actually bent it right there while I was torquing it down. I torqued everything down real good. So it's kind of bent, not symmetrical, but that kind of killed the tuning fork ability as well. If you don't know, with these, like the 3-prong or the 4-prong ones, if they're all the same length, they suppress the flash really well. Here's a clip of shooting at night. This was pitch black, and you can't even see the flash out of a 7.5-inch barrel. They do really good, but you can hear it right now. You hear that ding? It sounds like a tuning fork. So that's what I got on it now. If I could afford a suppressor, I would put a suppressor on it. This muzzle device was roughly $60. So we got 100. We're sitting at like 180 right now with the riser. The upper, without a charging handle's 20 bucks PSA. The upper is a PSA 7.5 inch 300 blackout. There's nothing special about it. It's just a PSA. It still runs. It runs good. I made sure the gas block and everything was Gucci gang. Made sure that it was torque to spec and stuff like that before I even shot it the first time. Yeah, I mean, it's just a PSA complete upper. This is a PSA stealth lower with a PSA Magpul MOE lower parts kit. Now I will say I'm kind of disappointed in the trigger because the disconnect. So I don't know if you can hear it. There's something going on with the disconnect, and it still fires. It's just the trigger is really grimy. I'm not gonna lie. It's really grimy. Even before I shot, you know, in super safe mode. If you notice the super safety right there, which is a surprise. It's a little bit grimy, and I think it's the actual coating. I think it's the coating on the disconnect itself. Because when I first put it together, it was having trouble cycling all the way. It would get stuck like this, and I had to just oil it, and then after I oiled it, I had to just sit here and just work it, and 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 work it. I probably, you know, went back and forth about 200-300 times, but after that and some oil, I mean, the thing runs like a beast. That could also be attributed to, I noticed the dwell time is not where I want it to be. And what I mean is the rate of fire with the super safety in general, there is a malfunction that can happen, and it does kind of scare me. That's why I never shoot in super safe, like, you know, the super safe mode without gloves. And it can essentially blow your barrel up. And what it is, it's a discharge that happens, or my bad, not the barrel, but the upper receiver can turn into a grenade. So what happens is you go back, catches the round, comes up, and it detonates before it's in battery all the way. See, battery all the way, I mean, it could be all the way back here, or it could be right here before it hits the primer. And it's very rare, okay, it's very rare. And I love shooting in super safe. My wallet doesn't like it, obviously. If you don't know what super safe mode is, it essentially is full auto, let's be honest. It's like a FRT. It resets the trigger for you so you can shoot at ridiculous rates of fire. But, you know, they're still kind of tweaking some stuff. So one thing that I am gonna do is get a really strong buffer spring and a H3 buffer in the back, and that should tune that out. Right now I just have a carbine buffer and I think it's an Aero Precision or a CMMG buffer spring in the back. Now all these parts individually, all these parts individually don't really cost anything. They're like 10 bucks a piece. Buffer tubes like 20. So this whole build is a PSA with Aero buffer spring, and then a no-name carbine buffer, just standard weight. This sling is a Amazon. It was like 10 bucks, you know, or it might have been AliExpress. Amazon special right here. It works just as good. As you can see, I have it taped exactly where I want it and where I need it, and that's good enough. I mean, a sling is a sling. Paracord would do the same thing. This is just a little bit more comfortable. And then we have this. So this is IR only right here. This is IR only. This is a tough sole brand based out of Florida. It was like $55, and this actually takes batteries. I'm so sorry for that camera focusing in and out on me. So this actually takes batteries. They make one that's magnetic rechargeable, but you probably won't be able to see it. You have a IR light, and then you have an IR laser. And believe it or not, this actually holds 0. Now, what did I do to get it to hold 0? I made a whole video reviewing this thing, but I essentially taped over the turrets. And as you can see, I hot glued after I soldered it in. I soldered everything in. I put Loctite over it where I could reach the threads, and then I hot glued everything down. That's how you have to do it on these cheaper IR aiming devices. Now, it's come to my attention that actually this company makes one that is essentially a PEC 15. It has white light, a green laser, IR laser, and a IR light. So I'm going to look into getting that next, because my biggest gripe with this actual weapon system was lack of white light. Let's say your night vision dies and you absolutely need that white light for something. You know, your night vision device dies and you don't have any way of seeing, because this light, the flashlight and the laser, is not going to help you. You can't see it with the naked eye. Not only to make PID, but just to engage in conflict, you have to be able to see. So that's probably going to be the next upgrade. But even that upgrade was like $90. Now, when I said sidearm, that's kind of why I was recommending a sidearm. You know, something like this is a PSA dagger with a Olight turbo. Yeah, Olight, I know, but this one has never let me down. I've had nothing but good experiences with Olight personally. The sidearm is not included in the kit, as I mentioned prior. However, something like this can kind of mitigate that. So if your night vision dies, you could at least have access to white light with a weapon system. Instead of ordering what I did, just the IR light and laser, you can get, like I said, the upgraded version they just came out with. This build has took me like a year and a half. I don't make a lot of money. This has took me a year and a half to get all this kit for this video. So appreciate a like and sub for one, but yeah, I'm just bringing down the conclusions. So yeah, that's the aiming device. It actually works really good. It's fairly accurate. And I also want to hit off, it's way better than the Action Unions. I've got questions about these. These are like, this is the Pro version, and this is like 100, 120. So you'd figure, you know, for double the price, it would be better. It's essentially a PEC 15 clone. It's got a red laser, a white light, IR laser, and a IR light. But I got to be honest, it doesn't hold 0. It is there for its sole purpose is to look cool. It does not hold 0. I tried hot gluing, I tried the thread locker on it, I've tried this and that, and mounting it in different areas. It does not hold 0. After like 3 rounds, it is not good. And from the research I did, even the official PECs will lose 0. There's just something about those aiming systems. We're talking like the $1,500 PECs that the military uses will lose 0. The concussion it takes from the muzzle, where it's, I guess, I don't know what it is, but that's just how they are. And then you get into the Sumo gear, the $300 airsoft one that everybody wants to get, and the off-brand D-ball. They got a D-ball in a mall as well. I don't know if it's a Sumo gear, but everybody's heard of them. I've also heard that they have a really bad time keeping 0 as well after a couple hundred rounds. Is it really worth spending $300 to $400 to $500 more on something? I don't think so, personally. This has held 0. This is M-LOK. This has held 0 just fine for me. And like I said, I'm not going to be engaging anything past, personally, probably 100 to 150 meters at night. I know I said 200 is the cap, and you can use this laser to point as far as you want in the nighttime. You can mark targets with it really well. but it is not, that's not what this is for. This is for up close and personal, right? This is for CQB and stuff like that. It's just, even in the woods, you're not going to be shooting far. Night vision and shooting far is just not there yet, unless you have really specialized equipment. But, you know, sniping in the night and crap like that, that's just not how it is. It's mostly run and gun COD lobbies from all the research I've done at night. And I'm saying this right now. I've kind of hinted at this prior in the video. Everything I talk about on this channel is like straight go to war. Like if something kicked off one day and there was foreign invasion or something, everything I say on here is 100% legit. What I recommend is I would take to war unless stated otherwise. This is the one concept, just because of the nature of the beast, that, yeah, I mean, you make your own decisions, and I made this and I put this together for this, but even if it kicked off, I'm not fighting at night. Like I said, I'm using this primarily for static defense on my property, or, you know, if we got a fob or somewhere. Everybody has a kit like this, then we'll be okay. We can, if somebody's trying to assault us or tries to get the jump on us for our ambush, we will be okay. I'm not kicking open doors. If anything, I'm sitting in the corner of the room waiting and I'm shooting through the wall. I'm not, that is, while theoretically this is probably the best $1,500 and under setup you can set up, this is the one thing, this ain't even just on a legal thing to protect me. I would not recommend running and gunning at night. At the nighttime, you need to stay in a cave or stay in a bunker, storm shelter or something. You do not need to be running around at night. You're just asking for it at that point. So, like I said, for static defense or for CQB, I mean, this makes the most sense, especially with the addition of the super safety. Now, they're still kind of new, but this could also take place of FRT. This super safety, I got 2 for $200 at performancetriggers.com, and both of them work pretty good. I've only had a handful of malfunctions, but I think I'm just trying to break it in and learn more about it. They seem pretty legit, and like I said, the whole science behind this is a little bit shaky. We're still in testing, the testing phase. I'm just trying to show you where I'm at right now. So, super safety, 2 for $200, or you could get 1 for $160. That's incorporated into the $1,500 price point. That's pretty much it for the weapon system. Pretty much you got Romeo 7S, a riser, and then your 300 blackout, upper, lower, super safety. Whatever brace you want, whatever you prefer. I'm going to get an SBA 5 whenever I acquire the funds. And then I'd probably recommend, I haven't done it myself, I'm running a carbine buffer and spring, but I'd probably get a H2 or H3 buffer to kind of slow the rate of fire to make it a little bit more controllable, and also to kind of help it not detonate. I don't know the exact science behind that. I did watch a video about it. It's more into how the weapon functions itself, but it seems like once you add a heavier buffer, it kind of slows everything down just a little bit. Like, it's hardly even noticeable, but they're not blowing up in your face. The upper's not blowing up in your face, so that's very nice. That's very nice. So, yep. Some potential upgrades. That light, like I said, having a white light and then maybe a visible laser would be nice to have, especially if it holds 0 like this one does. And then I'm switching out the brace. And then I need to get its own BCG, because this BCG I'm using, this nickel boron BCG, is out of a SPR build. However, I did include a full auto rated PSA bolt carrier group in the $1,500 price point. So the actual carrier is a slick Tacticon armament. It's called the Battle Vest Light. This is the light model, and this is just for protection. I'm running it sleek. It does have, as you can see right here, most plate carriers flip up and then you can take it off like that with Velcro. But something I really don't like about this, it's kind of cool, I guess. So you take it off and put it on like this, and you can just run it slick. I don't like the way that looks, so they come with this MOLLE panel, which you could have mags, you could have your IFAK or something on this. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, it's just a MOLLE panel with Velcro on the back. You could do whatever. You could add a belly pouch or whatever you wanted to do, but I'm just running it slick. It comes with plates. When I bought it, it was on sale for like $269 or $270. I think the regular price is $300. So that's incorporated with the plates, level 3A plus, which is, it's not level 4, but it'll stop most things. It'll stop an AK, it'll stop an AR, 5.56 green tip, it'll stop all that. It might not stop an armor piercing 30-06, but it will stop pretty much any intermediate cartridge. So pretty much any carrier, I mean, these have been vetted pretty good, and I'm not saying it's not legit, but it's probably my least favorite thing. I was honestly not even going to include it into this this whole thing. If you just don't want the plates, or you already have plates, everything else can be had for under $1,200. It's just, I felt like plates and having some kind of vital protection, especially where you're going to be up close and personal with the enemy, having some kind of body armor is essential. So, just a light, slick carrier is really good. Now, moving on from that, would I recommend just running this with some mag pouches? Not really. I just like running it slick. Met TC, mission dictates gear. If you're doing property patrol or just Overwatch, it hasn't exactly hit the fan, whatever your apocalypse is, as Hop says, you can choose to leave this at home. It's just whatever. If you know you're going to be taking gunfire, you're doing static defense, and you're just going to sit back in a chair and look around, then yeah, have it on, especially if there's snipers or somebody wanting to be sneaky. But we just got to sit here and think about it. This is the body armor, right? This is pretty much the cheapest you can get with decent quality, seems like. So the actual rig to hold the mags and our chem lights and our red lights and what else I got in here? Chem lights, red lights, medical supplies, stuff like that, is a Type 81. This is genuine Chinese issue surplus I found on Amazon. Actually, this was bought and paid for by a subscriber. Thank you so much. I did a review on it, and when I did that review, I found out this has no natural IR reflection. I'm not 100% sure what kind of material this is made out of, but it's really stout, and under night vision, it does not shine at all. Almost everything else I've held under direct IR light shines back, and it's bright. Especially cheaper, not surplus, but cheaper camo pants and stuff like that makes you invisible during the day. If it's polyester or something like that. And it might feel good, it might be warm, but come nighttime, you light up like a lantern under any kind of IR light. Majority, even surplus things, I had a woodland top that I washed, and I just wash in regular detergent. Turns out the detergent actually affects how it shines under night vision. It was a woodland top. It was a little bit faded, but it looked completely white and it was glowing under IR vision. So now if you watch a gear review on my channel and it's something like this, a piece of kit, I shine it under IR light to see the reflection pattern. This is, like I said, genuine Chinese surplus. It's not going to focus on it. Genuine Chinese Type 81 rig right here. PLA, People Liberation Army. It's a simple X harness. It's lightweight. It does not shine under night vision. And if you really wanted to add on there, if you really needed to spray paint, let's say these bamboo pieces right here, if you really needed to spray paint it down, kind of camouflage it in the daytime too, and, you know, take these out, you definitely can do that. This might not be bamboo, this might be cork, but it does its job. We got 2 little grenade pouches you can use for admin stuff, and then we have 4 mag pouches. I believe this was actually designed for the AK-103, but they fit AR-15 mags just fine. They fit to a pouch. So theoretically you could carry 8, which is really good for night ops, and you're not tied down with all that crap on a rig. I mean, if you wanted to mesh this with something else or run a different piece of kit, you can. I'm just trying to, this was 25 bucks. This was 25 bucks, and it doesn't shine under IR light. There's no IR signature whatsoever except for these corks. And like I said, you could just some spray paint, Rust-Oleum camo. It's not going to shine at all, which is crazy. That's the biggest drawing point about this. I love it so much. It's easy, lightweight, it's cheap. I like it. But not every mag pouch, you know, I would like a little bit more space. I mean, you could fit 8 mags theoretically, but I'd probably run even 6 or 4 mags, and then maybe 1 in your pocket for a total of 6 mags of 300 blackout, you know, 30 rounders. That's probably what I'd recommend. So you can put, maybe use one of these pouches for medical supplies, mark it, you know, with a Sharpie or something like that. Put a plus, you know, little health symbol on there or something. And then maybe for another, maybe some sustainment or like face paint or just whatever. But you do whatever you want to do, but I'd probably recommend keeping 2 of these pouches for, like I said, sustainment, first aid. You know, this can be your IFAK. I know it's against the grain. A lot of people probably just cringe, but you got to do what you got to do when you can't just afford stuff. And this will work. This will work really good. I have no qualms with this. I am super impressed with this. I'm not even just trying to shill it out. I mean, I am. They're not giving me no money or nothing. Chinese government don't even know I exist. Hopefully. But yeah, I mean, this is legit. Now for the device and the helmet. So this is a Action Union helmet, I believe. This is made for airsoft, and it was $50 flat. This is the large size because I have a big head. However, I probably should have went with the normal size. This is a little bit big on me, so I got the straps pretty much as tight as they'll go. However, the helmet does what I need it to do. And what do I need it to do? I need it to carry a night vision device. This is AliExpress Scrim right here. It actually does not shine under IR, which I was very, very, very surprised of. At least not at a distance. I'll try to put up some footage of blasting, some night vision footage. It's not shining here. More testing needs to be done before I can make an official statement on that, though. But this is a cheap helmet, 50 bucks. The one thing, like I said, I don't cheap out on mounts. This is a genuine Wilcox mount right here. This was like a $70 mount, $70, $80 mount when I bought it. It was on sale the other day. I checked, doing research for the video. It was 50 bucks. This is genuine Wilcox mount. This is like the brand name right here. This is the brand name right here, Wilcox mount. That goes in this $50. The mount is more than the helmet, is what I'm trying to say here. This night vision device is a digital night vision device I've done a review on. I've shown plenty of footage on this channel with training and operations. It's a Nightfox Prow. I have tape over it because there's a big logo on the side. And this thing is phenomenal. It's probably the best digital night vision you can get. It was on sale for $200 when I checked. And it has 850 nanometers illuminator, but it also has a 940 nanometer mode. But the biggest draw to this is the CMOS chip in it, which is how digital night vision works. It's essentially a camera strapped to your face that uses a CMOS chip to see the infrared spectrum. It is super sensitive. And this actually has an IR0 mode. Go check out my review on it because I went in, like, it's 30-minute video in depth specifically about this and how good it is. But I'll pop up a clip. So in that clip, that is how dark it really was. It was pitch black outside for the most part. Now to the naked eye, there might have been just a little bit of residual light, but besides that, it was none. There was no full moon, no nothing like that. Just, well, it might have been a full moon, but it was really cloudy. But I did not input or output any IR light from this device. It was in IR 0 mode the whole time I was recording that video. That is crazy. They also have firmware updates on this thing constantly. The phosphorus filter, the white phosphorus that you guys see in the clip, or seen in that clip, that's the newest one. They have inverted green, they have traditional green, and then they have black and white. The constant updates and support for this outweigh anything else. You just hook it to a computer, you get on there, you download the update file, drag and drop. I think you got to format your SD card though, so make sure you back up all your video footage and stuff. But you go in there, you format your card, and then you just drag and drop the files into the device. You get on the device, you go, and then you hit reset. Firmware update. New filters, new everything, and they're coming out with more. They're coming out with better. They're coming out with like AI, from what I heard. That's gonna kind of, there's a little bit of latency sometime if you sit here and do this, but you can run with it. Very, very good. For $200, this is probably the best digital night vision, at least that I know of. I gotta be honest with you. This is legit. This is, yeah. Especially with, I think I said in my video, with the IR 0, it's essentially analog night vision, aside from like maybe it might be 10%, 15, maybe 20. 20 is probably pushing it. It's probably 10 to 15% worse than analog night vision. But $200 versus at least $1,000 if you build it yourself, if not $4,000 or $5,000 for a minimized 10 to 15% performance in IR 0 mode. That's crazy. And keep in mind, before you say you don't know what you're talking about, analog night vision needs residual light from the moon or the stars, otherwise it does not work. All the analog and the phosphorus tubes and all that crap does is amplify the light that's already there. It doesn't project light itself, it just amplifies the light that's already there. That's why military commanders will plan night operations around full moon. They plan night operations around the moon cycle. So before anybody says, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, night vision, blah, 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 you're just a LARPer. No, I know. I was also a night vision driving instructor when I was at E5 before I got, since put down to E4 status because I was a hellion. I was the sergeant that signed your license. I was essentially a driving instructor on a night vision course for the Army for a while. And I would sign your license, oh, Sergeant Poor over here, so you could get it. So I know a little bit about night vision. I'm not going to say I'm a whiz at it, but I know a little bit about it. I'm just saying. So this is as close as you're going to get. And I'd say this is even better than Gen 1 tubes, I would say. For $200, $80 mount and a $50 helmet. Now, yes, there's no ballistic protection, but this will protect you from scrapes and falls. This will, it's probably not going to protect you too much from shrapnel, but you got to give and take, man. A bicycle helmet will do the same thing in most situations, or a motorcycle helmet. This one just so happens to have the ability to mount. It's got a rhino mount on it. I'm just saying. So this is the whole setup. The helmet itself is sitting pretty at, let's see, 280 plus 280 plus 330, so after tax, like 350. The magazine carrying kit, and I guess your IFAK, if you wanted to utilize that, is $25. This right here with level 3A plates, 3 plus or whatever, it's some like thing they came up with. It's between level 3 and level 4. This right here with the carrier was, the plates and the carrier combined was like 300. I got on sale for 260, but it's like 300, 350 right there. So now we're sitting at roughly $700. And then plus this build, the upper and the optic together was like 330, right at it. And then the lower, with the lower parts kit, and then I'm also added the tube and everything, was like 2 something. And then a BCG for 100. We're sitting below the $1,500 threshold. And you have, like I said, you have all the capability you will need for static defense, or even, you know, pushing an objective if you really wanted to. Now, 300 Blackout is not a NATO caliber. You could easily do this with a 10.5, 5.56 upper PSA for the same price. Just make sure you vet your stuff. It's the same piece of metal whether you get a BCM or a PSA. It's just, you need to know how to work on your own stuff. That's what I preach. If you get stuff and it's out of spec, if it's not bad out of spec, grab some sandpaper or a file. If it's a millimeter off spec or something's not right, just start sanding stuff down. I mean, don't do nothing illegal, but literally like 90% of the time you just get a sanding block and just wipe where it's rubbing real hard down, and you just keep rubbing, and then it'll run like a dream. I mean, people, they get mad because stuff doesn't work right out the box. But then they'll buy something for 3 times the price and it has typically the same issue. And then they'll say, oh, well, I just need to break it in. I mean, people are just so backwards, it's ridiculous. The Super Safety Performance triggers. This is totally optional. However, having a high fire rate at night, I definitely see that being a good option, especially if you're clearing rooms or something, or you want to shoot through the wall, whatever you're doing. Yep. So, like, comment, and sub. I'm trying to hit it, guys. I'm trying to boost it right now. I need it, man. Hit me up, buy me a coffee, and Patreon. I got other projects going on titled to different weapon systems and stuff like that. And I'm not necessarily, well, I am begging for money. God bless you either way, whether you subscribe, give money, whatever, it don't matter. Even if you don't, God bless you. I hope you have a great life. It's just, you know, times are hard over here, and I'll be honest, I don't know how much longer I can just be making videos. Like, you know, I'm doing this is kind of like the job right now. I'm a stay-at-home dad otherwise, but if I can't get any income from this, I might have to find some other, like, work from home or like a side gig or something. You know what I'm saying? It's just not, it's not viable. It's just, the hole's getting deeper, right? So I guess from this point on, like, if you want me to review something, you ain't got to pay for the whole thing, but like, give me a request and just kind of send that my way. I will try to be as autistic and thorough with it. If there's specific points you want me to hit on it, let me know. I'm not necessarily begging, but that's just where we stand. I'm still going to try to put out content as much as I can, but, you know, we're poor boys over here for real. So if you're better off, you make decent money, you got some extra, you actually have a savings account, you're not negative in 100 until payday. Oh, not me. No, not me. Yeah, so keep your head up either way. God bless you. Au revoir. I'll be on to. See you next time on the mountain. Peace.